I wanted to share this with you. Hopefully it will encourage you. But I always say that walking with Jesus is an experience, not an explanation. Being filled with his spirit and walking with him and growing him, it's not an experience, it's an explanation. And that is the truth. You have to experience for yourself to see what it's like. But I was asked if I could put it into words, what would I describe it as? And so I thought about it and meditated on it. And so I came up with an answer, and I wanted to share. So the foundation is, I would say, Matthew 5 says, we are the salt of the earth. But if salt has lost its savor, how then can it be salted? And then Mark 49:50 says, for salt shall be salted with fire. For everyone shall be salted with fire. Salt is good, but if salt has lost its saltiness, how can you make it salty again? Have salt in yourselves and be at peace with one another. Jesus does not show us how to escape the fire or go around it. He shows us how to walk through it. Like the 3 Hebrew children, he was with them. And it's because and only because that he walks through it with us. The Holy Spirit is fire. And how can fire burn fire? And we fight fire with the living word, our sword. And it's a double-edged sword like Hebrews, and I shared that yesterday. And so knowing him and knowing about him is a huge difference. So Adam and Eve had a chance to know him and walk with him, but Eve listened to the serpent, and she chose knowledge over relation, the knowledge of good and evil. And this life is the taste of that fruit, the knowledge of good and evil. So my answer to this question is, knowing about him is like knowing that air exists, but knowing him is breathing it in and out. Even his original name in Hebrew is YHWH, because they didn't have vowels in the original Hebrew. And it's pronounced like this. So every time we take a breath, we are saying his original name. And I think that's pretty cool. And he's always with us. But we have free will. But it's not free will to make our way. It's free will. Do you want the way, the truth, and the life? Or do you want your way? If you call on him with all of your heart, to anyone who is hanging on by a thread, think of Jonah, who disobeyed God and was thrown overboard and in the depths of the ocean. In his heart, he cried out to God, save me. And God had a whale waiting to take him to where he was supposed to be in the first place. But again, I'm going to reiterate, because God takes what was meant for evil and uses it for good. If Jonah had not disobeyed God and ran, the men in the boat that gave their heart to God that night when they saw what had happened with the whale, those men would have not heard that God was real, and that was the God. And if you go read the story, you'll see what I'm talking about. So God needed Jonah to rebel so he could reach those men in the boat. And then he sent him to preach in Tarsus. But anyway, I hope this encourages someone. And Jesus is the way, the truth, and the light. It's not about the how, the what, it's the who. It's the who that answers all of the other questions. He is a wonderful friend. He sticks closer than a brother. And he is a great teacher. He's a great leader and guide. And his word is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. And he is the one that would leave the 99 to go after the one. The prodigals, the ones that walked through fire most of their life and were rejected by the world and deemed unworthy. But God And that's John 15. The world takes care of its own, but the world hates you because you are mine. I have set you apart. And another question is, can't you talk to God while you do? Why do you always have to go by yourself? Can't you just talk to God while you're doing your housework or whatever? Yes, I talk to God all day. You can always talk to God at any moment. But if you want to hear from Him, because a relationship is between two people, and it's a two-sided conversation. And if you want to hear Him, you have to get away from the noise, and you have to clear your mind so you can hear that gentle whisper speak to your spirit. So yeah, you can talk to God anywhere, but God is all or nothing, and He's a jealous God. Whenever He speaks, He demands full attention. That's why I get alone, because I want to hear what He has to say. Because He says people, they talk to me, and they say, God doesn't hear me, God doesn't answer my prayers. That's because you're talking and talking and you're letting others talk, but you don't ever let Him speak. When you give your undivided attention, He is talking. Oh yes, He's talking. So, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And no man can come to the Father but by Him. And He's coming soon. He's coming soon. He only gives us today. And you can't serve man and God. You can't serve this world and God. And that's why you have to pick who you're going to hear from. And if you're going to hear from God, you have to silence the world to hear from Him. I hope this encourages someone and helps someone. Have a good day.